On my birthday, my millionaire son suddenly asked, "Dad, how do you like the car I gave you last week?" Shocked, I replied, "What car? This is the first I've heard of it." His wife turned pale, her hands trembling as if a secret was about to be revealed. Before we continue, please subscribe to the channel and let us know where you are listening in the comments. I heard the car doors slam like gunshots in the quiet suburban evening. Through the kitchen window, Emily's voice cut sharp. "Just ask him about the stupid truck and let's leave." My hand paused over the birthday cake plates, 67 candles still warm from being blown out, moments before I'd gone to get dessert forks. Michael's deeper voice rumbled something I couldn't catch, then footsteps on the porch. The door opened with forced cheerfulness. Michael wore that salesman's smile he'd perfected at the dealership, but his jaw muscles twitched beneath the skin. Emily stayed 2 steps behind, studying her phone like it held nuclear launch codes. She clutched an expensive gift bag against her designer purse, the tissue paper rustling like nervous laughter. "Happy birthday, Dad," Michael said, setting the gift on my coffee table with deliberate care. The bag screamed money, thick rope handles, embossed logo from that boutique downtown where a tie cost more than my weekly groceries. Emily finally looked up, her smile lasting exactly 1 second before she found something fascinating about my ceiling fan. I handed them cake plates, the blue frosting 67, already starting to melt. Navy blue, they'd remembered from my service days. "Thanks for coming," I said, noting how Emily's hand trembled taking her plate. She set it down untouched, wine glass already in her other hand like a shield. "So, Dad," Michael began, cutting his cake with surgical precision, "I wanted to ask you something." His casual tone didn't match the white knuckles gripping his fork. "You know that new F-150 you were looking at? The Platinum Edition with the panoramic roof and the massage seats?" My fork stopped halfway to my mouth. "What F-150? "The black one." Michael pulled out his phone, swiping to photos with practiced efficiency. "The one with the adaptive cruise control and the Pro Power on board. You were so excited about it last month." He turned the screen toward me. A gleaming black truck filled the display, temporary tags visible in the dealership lot. "Son, I haven't looked at trucks in 2 years. My Chevy runs fine." The wine glass slipped from Emily's fingers, exploding against my hardwood floor in a constellation of green glass and Pinot Grigio. She jumped back, grabbing her purse with both hands. "I just remembered. There's an emergency at work. The servers are down. I need to—" "The servers." Michael's voice could have frozen vodka. He stood slowly, all 6'2" of him, blocking the path to the door. "At the yoga studio, where you teach classes, the servers are down." "The booking system," she stammered, trying to squeeze past him. "People can't sign up for tomorrow's classes." Michael pulled up another screen on his phone, a PDF document that made Emily step backward into the wall. "Then explain this receipt for $65,000, with your signature, from 3 days ago." I took the phone from my son's shaking hand, studying the document. The dealership letterhead was familiar, Austin Premium Motors. The owner's signature at the bottom stopped my blood cold. Frank Morrison, my poker buddy for 15 years. Emily's breathing went shallow and fast, like a trapped rabbit. She clutched her purse against her chest, those new designer shoes, probably worth more than my monthly pension, clicking against the floor as she shifted weight from foot to foot. The pearl necklace Michael gave her last Christmas caught the light as her chest heaved. "Michael, please, I can explain." "Explain?" His voice cracked like we were back at his mother's funeral 20 years ago. "Explain how you stole $65,000 from my father's retirement account?" "It wasn't stealing. I was going to—" "Going to what?" Michael's control finally shattered. He slammed his palm against the doorframe, making Emily flinch. "Going to return it? Going to tell us? Going to stop lying for 5 minutes?" I studied the receipt closer, noting details. The signature timestamp, 2:47 p.m., the finance manager's name, the extended warranty she'd purchased, another $8,000. My construction engineer brain cataloged evidence while my heart counted the beats between Emily's panicked breaths. The gift bag on my table mocked us with its elegance. Through the tissue paper, I glimpsed a watch box, probably the Omega we'd seen her admiring last month. A $3,000 apology for a $65,000 theft. "Sit down," I said quietly. My voice carried the authority of 40 years managing construction sites, of Vietnam before that. Both Michael and Emily turned to me like I'd fired a pistol. "Both of you, sit." Michael's shoulders shook with rage as I put my hand on one of them, feeling the tremor through his shirt. Emily collapsed into my recliner, mascara already mapping failure down her cheeks. "Son, let her sit," I said, my voice steady as bedrock. "We need to hear this." The grandfather clock in the hallway ticked 5 times before Emily drew breath to begin her performance. I settled into my chair, pulling the receipt closer, already spotting the first 3 lies she was about to tell. 2 hours had passed. The birthday cake plate sat pushed aside, my coffee grown cold as Emily's tears. Her mascara had drawn parallel lines down her face like prison bars, and she'd gone through half my box of tissues. Michael sat rigid on the couch, his knuckles white where he gripped his knees. Sarah was going to lose her house, Emily sobbed, dabbing at eyes that seemed to manufacture tears on demand. "You don't understand what it's like. Her kids would have been on the street. The bank was foreclosing Monday morning." I watched her performance with the detached interest of someone who'd negotiated with contractors for 4 decades. The way she touched her nose when she said Sarah's name, a tell as obvious as a neon sign, the slight upward glance to the left as she constructed details rather than remembered them. "Sarah." I kept my voice neutral as Switzerland. "What's her last name?" "Mitchell, Sarah Mitchell." Too quick, too rehearsed. "And her husband?" Emily's pause lasted a heartbeat too long. Thomas Mitchell?" Michael shifted beside me, his business training finally overriding his emotional blindness. "Which bank holds their mortgage?" "First National." Another nose touch. "Or maybe Chase." She mentioned both. "Foreclosure notices are public record," I said, pulling out my phone. "What's their address?" Emily's eyes darted between us like a trapped animal calculating escape routes. "Somewhere in Round Rock. Oak Street, I think. I don't remember exactly." "You don't remember the address of the house you saved?" Michael's voice held the first edge of doubt. "The house where my father's F-150 is supposedly parked right now?" "It's not there," Emily's voice pitched higher. "She sold it to pay the bank. That was the plan. Sell it quickly, pay off the foreclosure, save her home." "Sold a 3-day-old truck for full value?" I set my phone aside. "In this market?" "She knew someone, a dealer in Houston." I noticed Michael's wedding ring clicking against his phone case, the nervous habit he'd inherited from his mother. He was checking something, probably Emily's social media. His face darkened with each swipe. "Emily," he said slowly, "this jewelry showcase you posted last week, the emerald set you said was a gift from your mother's estate." He turned the phone toward her. "Those pieces look exactly like the ones from that estate sale auction. The one that sold for $65,000. The silence stretched like a taut wire. Emily's breathing went shallow again. She pressed her palms against her thighs, leaving damp prints on her designer jeans. "1 week," I said finally. "You have 1 week to produce documentation. Bank statements from Sarah Mitchell, proof of the foreclosure, the truck's current location and sales record, everything." Relief flooded Emily's face so suddenly, I knew she'd never produce anything legitimate. She thought she'd won a reprieve, time to construct better lies, or simply disappear. "Yes, of course. I'll get everything from Sarah tomorrow." "Tonight," Michael corrected. "You'll call her tonight, on speaker." She's probably asleep. It's late." "It's 10 o'clock, Michael said flatly. "Call her." "Her phone's disconnected. The financial problems—" "Then we'll drive there, right now." Michael stood, keys already in hand. "To Oak Street and Round Rock." Emily's performance finally cracked completely. "I need time to get the papers together. Please, Michael, you know I love your father. I would never intentionally—" "Intentionally?" I repeated. "That's an interesting word choice." They left at 10:47 p.m. I watched from the window as Michael's BMW pulled away. Emily hunched in the passenger seat like she was already measuring prison cells. Their headlights swept across my lawn, illuminating the birthday decorations Emily had helped put up just hours ago. The hypocrisy of it burned like acid. At 2 a.m., I sat in my study reviewing savings accounts. The theft had taken 40% of my liquid retirement funds. The account showed the withdrawal clearly, an electronic transfer to Austin Premium Motors. Emily had my account numbers from helping Michael set up my online banking last year. The password had been Michael's birthday. She'd known everything. I picked up my phone, scrolling to a contact I hadn't called in years. Frank Morrison answered on the third ring, his voice rough with sleep or whiskey, probably both. "George? Christ, what time is it?" "Time to pay back that favor from 03, I said. "Remember the Riverside project?" Silence then. "I remember. I need information about a truck you sold 3 days ago, black F-150 Platinum." "Can't do that, George. Privacy laws." The buyer was Emily Walker, my daughter-in-law, using my money. Frank's breathing changed. "How much?" 65 plus the warranty." "Jesus." A pause. "Give me till morning. I'll have everything." I hung up and moved to the kitchen, spreading papers across my grandfather's oak table, the same table where Michael had proposed to Emily 4 years ago, where we'd celebrated their first anniversary, where I'd signed the papers giving Michael power of attorney over my accounts when I'd had surgery last year. By dawn, I'd created a timeline, Emily's spending patterns over the last 6 months, the gradual increases, the testing of boundaries, the receipt from a pawn shop I'd found in the trash last month. She'd been selling Michael's mother's jewelry, pieces he thought were in their safety deposit box, my notebook filled with observations, the new clothes appearing in their closet during my visits. The expensive purses she'd claim were gifts from clients at the yoga studio. The weekend trips Michael thought were yoga retreats, but credit card records showed were shopping sprees in Dallas and Houston. I found her Instagram through Michael's account, posted just 5 days ago. Emily draped in emerald jewelry, captioned, "Sometimes a girl has to treat herself." "Blessed living my best life." The jewelry store's location tag matched a shop on 5th Avenue, the same avenue as Austin Premium Motors. The morning sun streamed through my kitchen window as I closed the notebook. 3 hours of sleep would have to be enough. I made coffee, standing at the window where I'd watched them arrive yesterday. The shattered wine glass still glittered on the living room floor. I'd left it as evidence, or maybe as a reminder, that things broken by betrayal can't be swept up easily. My phone buzzed. Frank's text was brief. "Can't put anything in writing. Meet me at the usual place. 1 hour. Bring cash for the coffee. You're buying for the next year." I smiled for the first time since Michael had asked about the truck. Frank knew things. Frank had cameras. Frank had connections. Emily never imagined existed in our small network of Austin old-timers who'd built this city's infrastructure and remembered everyone who'd ever crossed us. I loaded my jacket with the notebook, phone, and a digital recorder. Then, as an afterthought, I went to my bedroom safe and took out the small leather folder I'd kept since my construction days, the one with contact information for the kind of lawyers who didn't advertise on billboards. The sun climbed higher, warming the Texas morning. Through the window, I saw my neighbors' kids playing in their yard, innocent and unaware that next door an old engineer was about to demonstrate why you never steal from someone who'd spent 40 years learning how to demolish things properly. Frank's Harley roared into my driveway at exactly 10 a.m., the distinctive rumble I'd known since our riding days. He pulled off his helmet, revealing a grim smile that told me everything I needed to know. The hunt was about to begin. Frank's motorcycle had barely disappeared into morning traffic when my phone buzzed. 2 words lit up the screen. "She's moving." By Monday, March 17th, Frank had already established his surveillance pattern. The encrypted photos arrived at 2 p.m. sharp on the burner phone he'd given me. Emily entering the Hilton downtown, her yoga mat carrier oddly heavy for someone supposedly teaching a class. The man beside her wore a suit that cost more than most people's cars. Brian Carter, according to the license plate Frank traced. I knew that name from Michael's country club directory, divorce attorney, the kind who specialized in high asset splits and hidden offshore accounts. Tuesday and Wednesday brought the same routine. Different hotels, the Marriott, then the Four Seasons, but identical timing. Always 2 p.m. when Michael held his daily dealer conference calls. Emily carried manila envelopes in, left empty-handed. Brian made bank deposits afterward at 3 different branches. Frank's telephoto lens caught the cash bands clearly. Harold met me at the golf club Thursday morning, his banker's fingers drumming nervously on the table. We'd known each other since I'd saved his son from a contractor who'd taken a deposit and vanished. Now, he slid a folder across the mahogany surface. 3 years of records, he whispered, though the dining room was empty. 47 transfers, George, all under $10,000 to avoid federal reporting. His finger traced the pattern. Always during Michael's Chicago trips, Denver conferences, Dallas meetings. The total made my chest tighten. $300,000. Systematic, professional. The temporary truck theft was just her latest escalation. Friday at 3 a.m., I used Michael's spare key to enter his garage. The magnetic GPS tracker, construction grade, the kind we use to prevent equipment theft, clicked under Emily's Lexus bumper in seconds. Legal installation since the vehicle was registered to Michael's company. The tracking app on my phone showed her location immediately. Home, asleep, unaware. Saturday's test run confirmed what Frank had photographed. Emily's car at the Hilton, 2:07 p.m. Brian's BMW arriving 12 minutes later. 1 hour, 14 minutes inside. Separate exits, her first. Him, 20 minutes after. Sunday dinner at Michael's became my infiltration opportunity. Emily had made her famous lasagna, playing devoted wife while her escape clock ticked. When I accidentally knocked my wine onto her cream-colored dress, she shrieked and ran upstairs. "Dad, you're getting clumsy," Michael laughed, grabbing paper towels. 15 seconds in their study, mini camera out, clicking rapidly. The safe hung open. Emily's carelessness or arrogance. Her bank statement showed the separate account. The truck money deposited, then transferred. Brian Carter's business card tucked behind them. A second set of books for Michael's company with discrepancies highlighted in her handwriting. The next 3 days blurred into analysis. Emily's hidden account revealed a pattern stretching back 4 years. Deposits matching every missing check from Michael's business. Withdrawals aligned with luxury purchases, spa treatments, jewelry that appeared briefly before vanishing. The fraud wasn't opportunistic. It was architectural. Frank called Wednesday evening, March 25th. His voice carried the tension of our patrol days in Da Nang. "George, you sitting down? Talk." Overhead her at the travel agency. 2 one-way tickets to San Jose, Costa Rica. May 15th departure. She paid cash. 7 weeks. The woman who'd smiled at my birthday dinner while robbing my son, blind, was planning her final exit. The jewelry thefts were acceleration, not greed. She was building an escape fund. I marked May 15th on my kitchen calendar with red ink, the color we used for demolition dates in construction. 7 weeks to dismantle 47 months of systematic theft. Time to shift from surveillance to action. The evidence filled 3 safety deposit boxes now. Photos, documents, recordings Frank had legally obtained in public spaces. Emily thought she was playing solitaire, unaware that every move was photographed, cataloged, cross-referenced. My phone showed her current location, another jewelry store. The GPS tracker had become my window into her criminal routine. She was getting bolder, sloppier. Desperation made criminals careless, and Emily was sprinting toward her mistakes. The morning after learning about Emily's escape plan, I sat across from the best fraud attorney in Texas. James Harrison's office overlooked the Capitol, fitting for a man who'd prosecuted state senators and federal judges. His fingers steepled as he reviewed my evidence folders. "Fraud in the inducement," he said, adjusting his wire-rimmed glasses. "In Texas, if someone enters marriage through deception about material facts, the contract is voidable. But this," he tapped the bank records, "this is criminal fraud, federal wire fraud, mail fraud, possibly RICO if we prove conspiracy with this Brian Carter. What do you need from me? Contemporaneous evidence of original intent. Proof she planned this from the beginning, not just opportunistic theft after marriage problems." He pulled out a legal pad. "We need to document patterns, establish premeditation, show the marriage itself was fraudulent. How long do I have? If she runs May 15th, we file May 14th. Everything sealed, frozen, arrested before wheels up." March 27th found me at Riverside Commercial Properties. The broker, another construction contact, spread blueprints across his conference table. The mall renovation, Michael's $5 million contract, his biggest ever. 30% stake available, the broker said. $3 million gets you partnership with full audit rights. I wrote the check without hesitation. Legal position to investigate Michael's business finances, protect his assets, and control damage when Emily's crimes surfaced. The partnership papers were signed within hours. Rodriguez and Associates occupied the top floor of the Frost Bank Tower, forensic accountants who'd exposed the biggest embezzlement in Texas history. By March 29th, they'd found what I'd missed. Shell companies, Rodriguez explained, projecting spreadsheets on his wall. Your daughter-in-law created 3 vendor companies. Look, Emily's Consulting, B&E Services, Carter Solutions. All payments from Michael's company to these shells, then transferred to personal accounts. Carter Solutions? Registered to Brian Carter. They've been partners longer than you thought. The Cayman Islands account took 2 days to establish. Completely legal with proper IRS reporting, but invisible to Emily's grabbing hands. If she tried to empty Michael's accounts during her escape, the money would automatically redirect offshore, protected until Texas courts sorted the fraud. April arrived with Emily's escalation. The mini cameras I'd installed during Sunday dinners caught her in Michael's study at 2 a.m., photographing contracts with her phone. She studied the Riverside Mall project specifically, highlighting payment schedules, vendor lists, completion bonuses. Frank's surveillance showed Brian at the courthouse researching property liens. They were planning something bigger than theft, asset stripping before they ran. April 4th, I planted the hook. Sunday dinner again, Emily serving wine while calculating her countdown. Michael's about to land something huge, I mentioned casually, cutting my steak. $8 million contract for the new tech campus, bigger than Riverside. Emily's hand paused mid-pour. Oh? He hasn't mentioned it. Keeping it quiet until the papers are signed. Should clear next week. That night, cameras caught her in the study again. I'd left forged documents in the bottom drawer. A fictional contract with just enough authentic details to seem real. She photographed every page, her face glowing with greed in the phone's light. Frank confirmed Brian had started preparing legal documents for the non-existent deal. They were planning to leverage the fake contract for massive loans before disappearing. By April 8th, all pieces were positioned. Frank's surveillance files contained over 200 photos. Rodriguez's forensic audit documented $365,000 in theft. Harrison had prepared both criminal complaints and civil asset recovery. The Riverside partnership gave me legal standing to freeze Michael's business assets if needed. April 10th was a Thursday. I watched from my car as Emily kissed Michael goodbye in their driveway. He left for work believing in their marriage while she texted Brian about their Costa Rica property viewing next month. She'd already stolen his past and present. Tomorrow, I would begin stealing her future. The plan was elegant in its completeness. Every escape route blocked, every asset traced, every crime documented. Emily had built her trap over 4 years. I'd perfected it in 4 weeks. My study wall looked like a war room. Timelines, photos, bank records, legal precedents. Texas Penal Code. Section 3245, highlighted in yellow, misapplication of fiduciary property, 5 to 10 years. Federal wire fraud statutes bookmarked, another 20 years possible. The marriage fraud, voiding spousal privilege, making every conversation admissible. That evening, I cleaned my father's service revolver, unloaded, purely psychological. Emily feared poverty, aging, exposure. The gun was theater, a prop for the performance coming. Frank had taught me in Vietnam. Sometimes the threat you don't make is more powerful than the one you do. Michael called at 9 p.m., voice tired from another long day building what Emily was stealing. Hey Dad, dinner Sunday? Wouldn't miss it. Emily's been acting strange lately, distant. You noticed? The opening I'd waited for. Want to talk about it? Maybe Sunday, after dinner. Perfect timing. By Sunday I'd have everything ready. The forensic audit complete, the arrest warrants drafted, the assets protected. Michael would learn the truth just as the trap snapped shut. I looked at the calendar. May 15th, still circled in red. 35 days until Emily's planned escape. She'd never make it to day 3. The morning of April 11th, I arrived at Michael's office earlier than usual, carrying the forged Riverside Mall expansion documents in my briefcase, papers that would destroy Emily. Walker Construction occupied the 3rd floor of a downtown Austin high-rise. I nodded to the security guard, who'd known me since Michael started the company. The elevator ride gave me time to review the plan once more. Every page in my briefcase contained watermarks invisible to the naked eye, QR codes that would track when scanned, and enough authentic details to fool someone who wanted to believe. Michael's office door stood open. He was in the conference room, visible through glass walls, presenting to clients. Perfect timing. I placed the folder on his desk, positioning it slightly askew, like someone had reviewed it hastily. The label read, Confidential, Riverside Expansion, 8 Mummer, in Michael's own assistant's handwriting, forged from samples I'd collected. The conference room offered a clear view of Michael's office. I settled in with coffee and old project files, appearing to review historical contracts while actually watching for Emily. She visited every Thursday at 2 p.m. when Michael held his longest meeting. Today would be no different. April 12th arrived with Emily 15 minutes early. She wore designer sunglasses despite the cloudy day, carrying a yoga mat that hadn't seen a studio in months. Michael was deep in negotiations as she slipped into his office, closing the door behind her. Through the glass, I watched her notice the folder immediately. Her body language shifted, shoulders tensing, head swiveling to check for observers. She thought she was alone. Her fingers traced the label before opening it carefully, like diffusing a bomb. The contents made her gasp audibly. $8 million expansion, $2 million cash completion bonus, timeline showing payment in 3 weeks. Her hands trembled as she pulled out her phone, photographing each page from multiple angles. The excitement made her sloppy. She didn't notice the tracking dots, the watermarks, the subtle impossibilities embedded in the contract language. Her phone screen lit up with a text to someone saved as YI, yoga instructor. But I knew it was Brian. One word, jackpot. She photographed everything twice more, ensuring clarity, then carefully replaced the folder at the same angle she'd found it. Her exit was casual, but her steps quickened once she cleared the office door. The trap had been taken. April 13th's family dinner at my house proceeded normally until dessert. I'd made Michael's favorite peach cobbler, waiting for the perfect moment as Emily fidgeted with her wine glass. Michael, congratulations on the Riverside expansion. $8 million is impressive. Emily's wine sloshed dangerously. Michael looked confused, setting down his spoon. What expansion, Dad? The folder in your office, the Riverside Phase 2 plans. Emily interrupted quickly, her voice pitched too high. You must be mistaken, George. There's no expansion. Her foot tapped rapidly under the table, a percussion of panic. Michael's confusion deepened, looking between us. I haven't seen any folder, Dad. Where did you hear about this? I shrugged, playing innocent. Must have misunderstood something Harold mentioned at the club. Banking gossip, you know. Emily's relief was too visible, too quick. Michael noticed, filing it away behind his eyes. Monday morning, April 15th, Michael called me during his meeting. His voice was strained. Dad, the bank just called. Someone's been trying to access our corporate accounts. Multiple password attempts from an IP address in Costa Rica. They answered security questions wrong 3 times. Costa Rica? That's concerning. I haven't tried accessing anything. Emily handles some of the bookkeeping, but she wouldn't. He paused, pieces clicking together. I'm freezing everything requiring major authorization. April 16th, I visited Michael's office with purpose. Found him staring at bank statements, forehead creased with worry. Son, when did you last check your personal accounts? Not the business ones, your personal savings, investments. Emily handles those, makes it easier with her yoga schedule. I've been reading about identity theft targeting executives, sophisticated operations. Maybe verify everything's okay? Peace of mind, you know. His face changed gradually, remembering Emily's recent questions about passwords, about account numbers for tax preparation. The seed was planted, watered with doubt. The next 3 days, Michael became a detective in his own life. He called me April 19th, voice hollow. Dad, there's 40,000 missing, jewelry charges I never made, cash withdrawals during every trip to Chicago. Mom's emerald ring isn't in the safe. Are you certain? I have receipts, pictures, Emily's signature on things I've never seen. His breathing was ragged. I installed a tracking app on her phone, legal since I pay for it. She's at the Hilton downtown right now, during her supposed yoga class. April 20th, 8 p.m., my phone rang. Michael's name on the screen, but silence when I answered, then barely a whisper. Dad, something's wrong, really wrong. What do you need? Tomorrow, I'm going to follow her. I need to know the truth. Be careful, son. I'm past careful, Dad. I'm at prepared. The exhaustion in his voice carried 40 years of my own memories. Another woman, another betrayal, another moment when love became evidence. But Michael was stronger than I'd been at his age. He had something I hadn't. A father who'd already mapped the battlefield. April 21st started with Michael calling in sick to work, the first lie in our family's web of deception. His voicemail to his assistant sounded genuinely ill. In a way, he was. Emily left at 10 a.m. for shopping, kissing his forehead while he feigned sleep. The moment her car cleared the driveway, Michael transformed. He moved through their house with an engineer's precision, installing micro cameras and smoke detectors, clocks, picture frames. The system connected to a cloud server with encrypted storage, evidence that couldn't be destroyed by smashing a device. In their bedroom, he discovered Emily's second phone tucked inside a boot in her closet. The contacts told a story. YI, Brian, Sarah M., the fictional friend, exit plan, a Costa Rica real estate agent. Michael photographed everything, his hands steady despite the earthquake in his chest. April 22nd became the day Michael's marriage truly ended. He sat in his BMW 3 blocks from the Hilton, watching through binoculars as Emily met Brian in the lobby. They didn't just meet, they collided, Brian lifting her off her feet, her legs wrapping around him momentarily, before remembering they were in public. The kiss that followed wasn't affair behavior, it was ownership, comfortable, practiced. They'd been together far longer than Michael had suspected. His phone captured everything as they entered the elevator, Brian's hand on the small of Emily's back, the same gesture Michael made. 68 minutes later, they emerged separately. Emily carried a manila envelope Brian had given her, thick with what looked like documents. Her hair was different, hastily fixed. Brian's tie was crooked. Michael vomited in a parking lot trash can, then sat in his car until his hands stopped shaking enough to drive. April 23rd's recordings changed everything. The cameras captured Emily on her hidden phone, pacing their bedroom while Michael worked late, actually watching from his office. Brian, the expansion is worth $8 million, $2 million cash bonus. We leave May 15th. Everything's arranged. The house in Tamarindo is perfect. Michael's so stupid he'll never notice until we're gone. The prenup won't matter in Costa Rica. Different jurisdiction. 3 more weeks of playing wife. I deserve an Oscar. Michael watched the recordings in his office, tears streaming silently. He called me at midnight. You knew, didn't you? I suspected. How long? Since your birthday. But you needed to see it yourself. She's been poisoning me. Small doses of something in my coffee. That's why I've been sick on weekends. She stops when I travel. The next days blurred into evidence gathering. Michael became methodical, copying Emily's laptop files while she showered. The draft divorce papers dated 3 months ago, listing irreconcilable differences. Fabricated evidence of Michael's supposed abuse. Plans to claim the Riverside project as community property based on forged documents showing her involvement. Bank statements revealed the full scope. Emily's hidden account with $400,000, more than even I'd discovered. Photos on her laptop of Brian in their bed, dated during Michael's business trips. Videos of them mocking Michael, planning their future, laughing at his trust. April 27th, Michael protected what remained. New bank accounts Emily couldn't access. Company funds transferred to secure institutions. Passwords changed using questions Emily couldn't answer. His real mother's middle name, his first dog, the street where I'd grown up. Important documents moved to a safe Emily didn't know existed. She didn't notice yet, still confident in her plan. The camera showed her humming while packing a suitcase she kept hidden, adding items daily. Paradise clothes for a life built on theft. April 28th, Michael met with James Harrison, the attorney I'd recommended. The evidence overwhelmed even Harrison's experience. This is criminal fraud, Mr. Walker. We need police involvement. Not yet. I want to confront her first. Get her confession recorded. That's dangerous. I have cameras everywhere, multiple recording devices. I need to hear her say it. Harrison agreed reluctantly, providing guidance on legal confrontation procedures. April 30th arrived with unusual calm. Emily returned from her fictional book club at 9 p.m., wine on her breath, Bernie's cologne on her clothes. The house was dark except for laptop light in the living room. Michael sat in his father's old leather chair, the one I'd given him when he started his company. The laptop showed split screens, Emily entering the Hilton, kissing Brian, the bank statements, the Costa Rica property listings. Hello, Emily, we need to talk. She froze in the doorway, designer purse slipping from her shoulder, Her eyes went to the screen, processing the images. The purse hit the floor, car keys scattering across hardwood. Michael, I can explain. Explain which part? The $300,000 you stole? The $400,000 in your hidden account? Brian? Costa Rica? The poison in my coffee? Emily's face cycled through emotions like a slot machine. Shock, fear, calculation, then rage. Her mask finally, completely off. You don't understand, Michael. Your father, he set this up. My father tried to protect me. You just proved why. He's been stalking me. Invasion of privacy. I'll sue from prison because that's where thieves go, Emily. She stepped backward, hand reaching for her phone. Outside, red and blue lights pulsed through the curtains. Michael had called them after all, timing their arrival perfectly. You called the police? Her voice cracked. Justice called them. I just provided the address. The doorbell rang. Emily's transformation was complete, from predator to prey in 30 seconds. The woman who'd stolen everything stood in designer shoes bought with blood money, watching her exit door close. May 1st arrived with process servers at Michael's door at 6 a.m. Emily had filed for divorce overnight, claiming domestic abuse and financial manipulation. Michael's voice cracked through my phone at 6:17 a.m. Dad, she's claiming I hit her. There's a restraining order. I have 2 hours to leave my own house. The papers in Michael's shaking hands told a vicious story. Emily claimed years of psychological torture, financial control, and recent physical violence. She demanded immediate possession of the house, $20,000 monthly support, and 50% of Walker Construction. Brian Carter's signature appeared as her attorney. Apparently, the bar hadn't moved fast enough to stop him from filing. By 8 a.m., Michael sat in my living room with a garbage bag of hastily packed clothes. His eyes were hollow, disbelieving. The woman he'd loved had launched a nuclear strike from her jail cell, posting bail at midnight and filing paperwork by 2 a.m. She's claiming I pushed her down the stairs last week, Michael said, staring at the emergency order. I was in Chicago last week. May the 2nd brought Brian's full offensive. Multiple motions flooded the court, demands for forensic accounting, allegations that I'd helped Michael hide assets, claims of a conspiracy to frame Emily. He'd even contacted the Austin American-Statesman with Emily's story of a brave woman escaping an abusive marriage. Harrison, Michael's attorney, reviewed each filing in my study. It's aggressive but sloppy. Brian's panicking, throwing everything at the wall. Each claim contradicts evidence we've already documented. Let them think they're winning, I said, remembering lessons from construction negotiations. Overconfident opponents make mistakes. May 4th's emergency meeting included Harrison, Frank, and Rodriguez from the forensic accounting firm. The conference table in Harrison's office was covered with evidence boxes, timelines, and legal precedents. Judges often favor women initially in these situations, Harrison explained. The system assumes the abuse claims have merit until proven otherwise. We need to file criminal charges immediately to shift the narrative. Not yet, I countered. Let Emily and Brian extend themselves. Every lie they tell is another federal count. Rodriguez pulled up Emily's social media. Since posting bail, she'd been active. Photos at expensive restaurants, shopping bags from Neiman Marcus, posts about freedom and new beginnings. Each image time-stamped while she was supposedly in fear for her life. May 5th, I visited the State Bar of Texas building in downtown Austin. The investigator, a former prosecutor named Janet Chen, no relation to the judge, reviewed my evidence with increasing interest. Mr. Carter represented Mrs. Walker in her prenuptial agreement, she said, scanning documents. Now he's representing her in the divorce while maintaining an intimate relationship? That's multiple ethics violations. The hotel photos Frank had taken made her whistle softly. This preceded the divorce filing by months. He's been planning this with her, helping her steal assets while representing her. This isn't just disbarment, it's criminal conspiracy. May 7th's Austin American-Statesman carried 2 items of interest. Brian's planted story about Emily appeared on page 3, but the legal notices section contained my response, a formal notice of fraudulent activity naming Emily Walker, detailing the stolen F-150 and missing $400,000. Brian called Harrison within an hour, threatening a defamation suit. Harrison's response was brief. Truth is an absolute defense. Would your client like to dispute the facts under oath? The line went dead. May 9th found me driving to San Antonio, Emily's parents' address programmed into my GPS. Robert and Margaret lived in a modest ranch house in Alamo Heights, their lawn meticulously maintained. They answered the door together, faces drawn with worry. Mr. Walker, Emily said you might try to contact us. She warned us about your lies. I handed them a folder without speaking. Inside, bank records, surveillance photos, the fraudulent truck purchase, Brian's hotel receipts. They sat on their floral couch, reading in silence for 20 minutes. Margaret broke first, tears streaming. She told us Michael was abusive. We sent her $5,000 last month to help her escape. She's been stealing from him for 4 years, I said gently. The abuse claim started only after we discovered the theft. Robert's hands shook. We'll testify if needed. Our daughter needs help, not enablement. May 15th's emergency hearing in family court felt like walking into an ambush we'd anticipated. Judge Patricia Morrison, no relation to Frank, presided, known for being methodical but initially protective of women claiming abuse. Emily sat with Brian and a female associate, wearing a conservative dress I'd never seen before. No jewelry, makeup designed to look like she'd been crying. The performance was Oscar-worthy. Brian argued passionately for immediate relief. Emily needed protection, support, access to marital assets. The big bad husband and his father had conspired against her. Judge Morrison granted temporary possession of the house and $10,000 monthly support, but denied the business account freeze. Mrs. Walker will have adequate support while this matter is resolved. Mr. Walker's business operations will continue unimpeded. Emily's smirk at Michael was pure venom. Brian squeezed her shoulder in victory. Neither noticed the man in the back row taking photos, his State Bar investigator credentials hidden in his pocket. Janet Chen had sent James Martinez to observe Brian in action, gathering evidence of his continued practice while under investigation. Michael looked destroyed as we left the courthouse. I put my hand on his shoulder, feeling him tremble with rage and hurt. Dad, how can the system be so blind? It's not blind, son. It's cautious, but caution works both ways. Let them think they've won this round. The judge's gavel had fallen on temporary orders. Emily believed she'd gained the upper hand. Behind her, Martinez had photographed every gesture between her and Brian, every whispered conference, every touch that revealed their real relationship. The morning after our courtroom loss, I received a call that changed everything. Mr. Walker, this is the State Bar. We need to discuss Brian Carter. Janet Chen's voice carried the satisfaction of a prosecutor who'd found their smoking gun. Mr. Martinez's observations yesterday confirmed our suspicions. Mr. Carter is practicing law while under investigation, representing a client he's romantically involved with, in a matter where he has clear conflicts of interest. What happens next? Emergency suspension. He'll be notified within the hour. He cannot represent Mrs. Walker or anyone else effective immediately. By noon, Brian's world had imploded. The State Bar's emergency order was hand-delivered to his office, his home, and the courthouse. Emily called Michael 17 times in panic. He didn't answer once. May 18th brought frantic maneuvering from Emily's camp. She'd hired Sylvia Reeves, a competent but overwhelmed solo practitioner who'd taken the case for the retainer without fully reviewing the evidence. Harrison met with her that afternoon. Your client has significant exposure, Harrison told her, sliding over boxes of evidence. Criminal fraud, theft, conspiracy. The divorce is the least of her problems. Reeves spent 3 hours reviewing documents, her face growing paler with each revelation. She left without speaking, but her expression said everything. May 20th, Reeves filed a motion to withdraw as counsel. Irreconcilable differences regarding case strategy was the official reason. The truth was simpler. She wanted no part of representing a clear criminal. Emily scrambled to find new representation. The legal community in Austin is smaller than people think, and word travels fast. No reputable attorney would touch her case after reviewing the evidence. May 21st's pre-trial conference was supposed to be routine scheduling. Instead, Judge Harriet Chen, newly assigned after Judge Morrison recused herself due to a scheduling conflict, transformed it into something else entirely. Judge Chen had a reputation, brilliant, thorough, and absolutely intolerant of fraud. She'd spent 10 years as a prosecutor, specializing in financial crimes before taking the bench. Mrs. Walker, I see you're representing yourself with assistance of counsel. Emily stood with a young lawyer who'd graduated 6 months ago, clearly in over his head. Yes, Your Honor, I've been unable to secure experienced counsel due to circumstances. I've reviewed the filings. There are serious allegations on both sides. Mr. Walker, your client claims abuse. Mrs. Walker, the opposition claims fraud. This court will not tolerate perjury or false allegations. Am I clear? Both sides nodded. May 26th, 9 a.m., Travis County Courthouse, room 308. The main hearing began with Michael's attorney presenting our case like a master builder. Foundation first, then structure, finally the devastating details. Harrison started with timeline charts on foam boards, 4 years mapped out in colored markers, business trips in blue, thefts in red, hotel meetings in yellow. The pattern was undeniable. Your Honor, will demonstrate systematic theft spanning 4 years, totaling over $400,000. Emily's assistant counsel objected weakly. Judge Chen overruled without looking up from the evidence. Frank took the stand first, his military bearing intact at 71. Harrison walked him through the surveillance. Each photo entered into evidence. Emily and Brian entering hotels, kissing, exchanging documents. How long did you conduct surveillance? 6 weeks, sir. What did you observe? Regular meetings between Mrs. Walker and Mr. Carter at hotels, during times she claimed to be teaching yoga. Emily's face flushed. She whispered frantically to her young attorney, who looked like he wanted to disappear. The bank records came next. Rodriguez from the forensic accounting firm presented 43 slides showing money flowing from Michael's accounts to Emily's hidden accounts to Brian's office account. This pattern indicates conspiracy to commit fraud, Rodriguez stated. 2 parties working together to systematically drain marital assets. Then I took the stand. Harrison walked me through discovering the truck theft, finding evidence, documenting Emily's crimes. I kept my voice level, factual, letting evidence speak louder than emotion. Did you fabricate any evidence, Mr. Walker? No, sir. Did you conspire against your daughter-in-law? No, sir. I tried to protect my son from ongoing theft. Emily's cross-examination was a disaster. Her assistant stumbled through questions while she passed him notes. I answered each calmly, referring to documented evidence. The video played next. Emily with Brian, recorded by the cameras Michael had installed. Her voice filled the courtroom. Michael's so stupid he'll never notice until we're gone. Judge Chen's expression darkened with each piece of evidence. When Emily's parents testified via video link from San Antonio, confirming Emily had lied about abuse and they'd been manipulated into sending money, the judge's jaw tightened visibly. May 27th, Emily attempted her defense. She took the stand against her attorney's advice, believing she could charm the judge as she charmed Michael. They conspired against me, she began, tears ready. George never accepted me. He planted evidence, manipulated Michael. Mrs. Walker, Judge Chen interrupted. Do you have any evidence of this conspiracy? It's obvious. The timing. I asked for evidence, not speculation. Emily's composure cracked. They're lying, all of them, including your parents. Silence. Mrs. Walker, lying to this court is perjury, a felony. I'm going to ask you directly. Did you take money from your husband's accounts without his knowledge? Emily's attorney whispered urgently. She ignored him. I took some money, but how much? I don't recall exactly. Judge Chen pulled up the forensic report. The evidence shows $412,000 over 4 years. Does that refresh your memory? I was entitled to it. Were you entitled to steal his mother's jewelry? That was a misunderstanding. Were you entitled to conduct an affair with your attorney while planning to leave the country? Emily broke down, not tears of remorse, but rage. This isn't fair. I deserve compensation for 4 years of marriage to that boring fool. The courtroom went silent. May 31st, Judge Chin delivered her ruling. She spoke for 40 minutes, methodically dismantling Emily's claims while building the case for fraud. This court finds clear and convincing evidence of systematic fraud perpetrated by Mrs. Walker against Mr. Walker. The evidence shows premeditation, conspiracy, and ongoing criminal conduct. She denied all spousal support, ordered Emily to repay stolen funds, and granted Michael an immediate divorce. The marriage was dissolved effective immediately, with Emily receiving only her personal belongings. Furthermore, this court is referring this matter to the District Attorney for Criminal Prosecution. Bailiffs, please ensure Mrs. Walker remains available. Emily screamed, "This isn't over! You've ruined my life!" As bailiffs escorted Emily out, she turned to me with pure hatred. "You destroyed my life." I responded quietly, "No, Emily, you did." June the 1st began with Emily's desperate text to Michael. "I know about the emergency account. I deserve half." She didn't know the FBI was already watching. Special Agent Rodriguez sat across from me in the federal building downtown, her fingers moving through evidence files with practiced efficiency. The IRS Criminal Investigation Division had flagged Emily's unreported income 3 weeks ago. Rodriguez specialized in financial crimes, and her eyes lit up reviewing our documentation. "Mr. Walker, this exceeds federal thresholds significantly. $400,000 in theft, 0 tax reporting. We're looking at tax evasion, wire fraud, money laundering." She pulled up account records on her laptop. "This emergency account your son mentioned, we'd like to use it as a controlled delivery." The plan was elegant. The FBI created a fictional account showing $3 million, accessible only through specific verification procedures at First National Bank. The account would appear real to anyone checking online, but attempting to access it would trigger federal wire fraud charges. June 4th, Emily took the bait. She'd hired someone online to hack Michael's accounts, promising 20% of whatever they found. The hacker was FBI Cyber Division, recording every communication. Emily detailed her plan: grab the money, fly to Costa Rica, disappear forever. "I know he's hiding at least $3 million, she wrote. "His father helped him move it offshore. I deserve half after what they put me through." The agent responded professionally, requesting Michael's personal information. Emily provided everything: social security number, birth date, mother's maiden name, previous addresses. Each piece of data, another federal crime. June 11th, the trap was set. The fake account went live, showing 3,147,892 bond 45, specific enough to seem real. The FBI added transaction history, interest payments, even fake financial advisor notes. Emily checked it obsessively. Screenshots captured by monitoring software. She scheduled her bank appointment for June 16th at 10 a.m. Her one-way ticket to Costa Rica was booked for the next day. The FBI tracked her purchasing luggage, closing accounts, selling jewelry. She told Brian nothing, planning to abandon him too. Rodriguez showed me Emily's search history. Extradition treaties Costa Rica, accessing spouse assets after divorce, statute of limitations wire fraud, desperate searches of a cornered criminal. June 16th arrived humid and bright. Michael and I sat in an FBI surveillance van parked across from First National Bank. 4 agents were inside, 6 more in vehicles around the building. Rodriguez coordinated from the mobile command center. Emily entered at 9:58 a.m., wearing a conservative suit and carrying a leather portfolio. The cameras tracked her approaching the private banking desk, showing the fake account information, signing wire transfer requests with a steady hand. "She's requesting transfer to an account in Belize," Rodriguez reported. "Standard laundering route to Costa Rica." The banker, an undercover agent, processed her request slowly, asking security questions Emily answered confidently. She'd memorized everything, prepared for this moment. At 10:23 a.m., Emily hit the confirm button on the wire transfer terminal. "Execute," Rodriguez commanded. 3 agents materialized around Emily's chair. "Emily Walker, FBI, you're under arrest for wire fraud, tax evasion, and money laundering." Emily's scream pierced the bank's quiet atmosphere. "This is entrapment. You set me up." "You attempted to steal $3 million that doesn't exist," Rodriguez said calmly. "That's attempted wire fraud. The account was a lawful investigation tool." Emily demanded to call Brian. His phone went straight to voicemail. He'd already seen the news alert on his phone and was driving toward the Mexican border. "George did this!" Emily shrieked as handcuffs clicked. "He's destroyed my life!" Michael watched from the van, his face a mix of satisfaction and sadness. "She still can't accept responsibility," he said quietly. The perp walk was deliberate. Rodriguez had notified media about a major financial fraud arrest. Cameras captured Emily being let out, her designer suit wrinkled, makeup smeared, The facade finally shattered completely. June 17th through 25th revealed the extent of Emily's crimes. Her devices contained 3 years of falsified tax returns, shell company documentation, and money laundering evidence. The forensic accountants found she'd stolen closer to $500,000 when accounting for liquidated assets and cash transactions. Brian was arrested June 20th at a Border Patrol checkpoint. His car contained $50,000 cash, fake identification, and a laptop with encrypted files detailing other client frauds. His empire had been built on Emily-style scams across Texas. June 26th, Michael filed for annulment rather than relying on the divorce. Under Texas law, fraud vitiates consent. The marriage never legally existed. Judge Chen approved it immediately, erasing Emily from legal existence in Michael's life. "Dad, you saved everything," Michael said over dinner that night. "You saved yourself by trusting me when it mattered." June 30th brought the federal prosecutor's assessment. Assistant U.S. Attorney Jennifer Martinez, coincidentally sharing the agent's surname, reviewed the case with us. "Mr. Walker, your evidence is impeccable. With the tax charges, wire fraud, and money laundering, she's looking at 5 to 7 years minimum. If she doesn't cooperate against Mr. Carter, it could be 10. The truck that started everything had led to complete justice. July started with Emily's plea bargain hearing. She looked smaller in orange, her designer facade finally stripped away. The federal courtroom was nearly empty, just family, lawyers, and reporters. Emily stood as Judge William Hayes read the charges. 15 federal counts including tax evasion, wire fraud, money laundering, and conspiracy. Her parents sat behind her, aged 10 years and 2 months. The prosecutor offered 5 years with cooperation against Brian, full restitution of $400,000, and 3 years supervised release. Emily's new public defender had explained her options: take the deal or face trial and potentially 15 years. "How do you plead?" Judge Hayes asked. "Guilty, Your Honor." Emily's voice was barely audible. The judge reviewed each count, ensuring Emily understood. She admitted to stealing, lying, falsifying documents, attempting to flee. Each admission was another nail in Brian's case. Robert and Margaret approached me after the hearing. They'd mortgaged their house to pay partial restitution, liquidated their retirement savings. "We failed her somehow," Margaret said through tears. "She made her choices," I replied gently. "You're doing the right thing now." July 11th brought Brian's bar discipline hearing. The State Bar of Texas rarely moved quickly, but Emily's testimony via video link was devastating. She detailed how Brian had planned the thefts, taught her money laundering, promised her protection from prosecution. The panel voted unanimously: permanent disbarment, referral for criminal prosecution, and public censure. Brian's 20-year career ended in 30 minutes. His criminal trial would be separate. Other clients had come forward. 7 more cases of theft and fraud. Brian faced federal charges potentially totaling 30 years. His wife had filed for divorce the day after his arrest, taking their children to her mother's in Oklahoma. July 21st, Michael's business was thriving. The publicity had actually helped. Everyone wanted to work with the company that had survived such betrayal with integrity. New contracts worth $10 million were signed, employees were receiving bonuses, expansion plans were developing. Michael had started therapy twice weekly with a specialist in betrayal trauma. Dr. Sarah Kim helped him understand narcissistic abuse patterns, recognize grooming techniques, rebuild self-worth. The healing was slow but steady. "I don't blame myself anymore," he told me after a session. "I was targeted, not weak." The house full of memories went on the market July 25th. Michael bought a modern condo downtown with spectacular city views, no ghosts, fresh start. He hired an interior designer to create something entirely his, no remnants of Emily's influence. August 1st was my 68th birthday. I woke to find Michael in my driveway with a Ford F-150 Platinum, navy blue with every option available, the same truck Emily had stolen, but legally purchased, properly gifted, genuinely given with love. "Happy birthday, Dad." No forged signatures this time. The keys felt solid in my hand. We drove to Lake Travis, the truck handling beautifully. Michael had even added custom floor mats with George Walker embroidered in gold. August 2nd, we set up camp at Hippie Hollow Park. Father and son, fishing poles, cooler of beer, no agenda. The first real peace in months. How did you know? Michael asked, casting his line into the sunset-painted water. 40 years in construction. You learn to spot weak foundations. Emily's story never had solid footing. What were the signs I missed? Love bombing early on, isolation from friends, financial secrecy, excessive gifts followed by guilt, classic patterns. Michael caught a decent base, his first ever. I'm seeing someone, he said while releasing it. Taking it slow. Background check was clean. I laughed, the first genuine laugh in months. Trust but verify. Her name's Jennifer. Prosecutor actually, works in Jennifer Martinez's office. Says she admires how you handled everything. August 31st, Labor Day. My backyard filled with family. Michael's sister Lisa flew in from San Diego with her kids. Frank brought his famous brisket. Harrison stopped by with his wife. Even Rodriguez made an appearance, off-duty and relaxed. Nobody mentioned Emily. The focus was forward. Michael's business expansion, Lisa's promotion, grandkids starting school, normal problems, healthy challenges, real life. As evening settled, I sat on my porch watching the truck in the driveway. Michael was teaching his nephew to throw a football, laughing at wild throws. The sound of healthy, healing laughter. My phone buzzed. Michael had sent a photo of Jennifer. Pretty, professional, kind eyes. Bringing her to dinner Sunday. Looking forward to it, son. The truck gleamed in the fading light, no longer a symbol of theft, but of justice. Emily was serving her time, Brian awaiting trial, Michael rebuilding carefully. The patient approach had worked. Some battles are worth fighting, some victories worth savoring, some trucks worth waiting for. The Ford F-150 wasn't just a vehicle. It was proof that sometimes patience and planning triumph over greed and deception. And sometimes the best revenge is simply living well while justice takes its course. If you like this story, please like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share your impressions of this story in the comments. To listen to the next story, click on the box on the left. Thank you for watching.